talking to my dispatchers. You want to be a dispatcher, you might own your own truck, you want to get a little better, you might be new, you might be working off the load boards. The first thing is paying attention to detail. It's not all about the rate. When you book that load and you looking on that Raycon, first thing I do is I look at the receiver and the shipper. Check them zip codes, check those addresses, make sure they right. I run flatbed, so I look at the commodity. I might look at the dimensions, making sure everything legal, the weight. The next thing I'm gonna do is go look at that, of course, the rate, and make sure the rate is right before I sign it and send back. So it's paying attention to them details, making sure that everything on that Raycon that you agreed to is correct before you sign it and send it back. Sometimes you rushing, y'all done agreed on 800, they sent it for 700. Brokers play a lot of games, not all of them, but they can play games and you can trick you out of your money. You done ran the load and you see later on that the Raycon's for 700. Next is, if you sending your trucks to a certain location, you really want to make sure it's freight coming out. It's not going to be like that everywhere. Deadheading, it does have its advantages at times. Make sure you're getting double, if you know, a lot more than what that rate would normally pay if you're going to deadhead out. If I'm going to go down to Florida, because I'm in Georgia, sometimes I go down to Florida, I'm going to make sure I'm getting a premium rate. Just I got to deadhead to the tip of Georgia to, you know, get, or Carolina or something like that. So it's paying attention to where you sending these trucks, because sometimes it's better to just keep them in a hot market. I really run Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. I stay in the Southeast. I don't go too far. So and these are all things you can use your DAT board to. If you send them here, you open up a new tab, and you send them to Ohio, you open up a tab in Ohio and seeing what's coming out of it. It's that simple. Another thing with dispatchers, loads that's on the board aren't good loads. Nine times out of 10, hot loads are gone in a minute. So when you washing dishes and dealing with your kids, and because you working from home, that's a problem. Like, you have to be glued to that load board until you book that driver. After you book that driver, okay, you can take a second to do this and do that, but those loads are popping up every minute, every second. And when that good load come, you got to be there to get that load. Another thing, I rarely, unless it's just a great rate, but I'm always looking to get a few $100s more than what that posted rate say. Yeah, they gonna say that's all they got in it, but that's not true. Definitely if they say, how soon can you get there? I book a lot of my loads maybe a day in advance. I don't really book too far in advance, because the farther you book in advance, the cheaper normally that load is gonna be. So if it's Monday and you seeing a load for Friday, that's not going to pay like if it's Monday, your truck is empty and you're ready to book right now, or if it's Monday and you're booking for Tuesday the next day. So I try not to book my truck too far in advance, because now you might not could use this method if you got 10 trucks, but if you're an owner operator, you dispatching a few trucks, try not to go too far in advance. You're gonna mess up the money. Hot loads, and when a broker say, how soon can he get there? Can he get there now? That's your green light. That's your green light for the money. So that's another thing. So, you know, I could go on a lot about this. I don't have no course. I'm not selling you guys nothing. This is just, you know, just giving some game out and tactics that I use on the daily. You know, I run flatbed, and I also have a van. I run it not that much. Sometimes when flatbed's slow or it's cold, like now, I'll run the van. Right now I'm in my flatbed. So those is the main things, man. Paying attention to details, seeing where you sending these drivers into dead zones, and booking too far out because you want to just get the truck booked and you gonna do whatever you want to do. So if y'all got dispatches and you calling them and you hearing kids playing in the back, Win from the car, she drop, get her ass out of there. She gonna mess up your bread. So this is just me, you know. I ain't adding in a bunch of shit. I'm just letting this video go, and this on one take, you know what I mean? So that's just my 2 cents. You know, it's gonna be we can go on, because dispatching is it's a serious thing. You need, sometimes you need them, because you can't always, you miss a lot of freight while your hands on the steering wheel. If I'm out here recording, I don't have a dispatcher. I dispatch myself. I've been doing it like that for years. I have my own authority. So normally if you lease on, sometimes they'll have a dispatcher for you already. So If you got your own authority, you can lease yourself. You can dispatch yourself. Definitely if you run far. So you might have 2 days. You might be going somewhere far, and you got a day or two to book a load. To me, that's easy. You don't need to pay somebody 6 to 10% to do that. And so those are just tips. Like, if you want to be a good dispatcher, man, it's paying attention to detail. Also, before I go, learning your commodity, meaning knowing what's going on in that truck, because it'll teach you how long that stuff take. You know, with the van, I try to stay away from foods, even though I know that sounds crazy, but because they got lumpers, and I like to do a lot of general machine parts, auto parts, stuff like that. It goes on and off the truck. Even with flatbed, I don't run a lot of coils. I know that's all tarp loads. Like right now I'm doing warehouse racking. So learning the commodities as a dispatcher, asking the broker, what's this commodity? So once you hear it, you'll start to understand, okay, this stuff take this long. And so that's another good thing. Detail, learning the commodity. Also the rate, knowing how to do your rate per mile, what your driver is looking for, whether he like, hey, I don't want to run nothing under $3. I run for a higher rate per mile because I don't do a lot of miles. So it's a little different if you sending somebody, you know, across. I know the rate per mile is much lower, maybe $2.50 a mile, $3. But that's just my 2 cents on it. You know, I'm still learning. I'm a student of the game. I've been in the game about 8 years, but I'm still learning. And that's about it, man. Y'all follow me on all my platforms. Twan Dizzy. I've been trucking for a while. Any questions y'all got, I'm happy to answer. That's about it. I'm out.